Hey, it's Amber. So week 2. Um, so I figured this week I would touch on the topic of how my partner and I met, and some of the questions I had, and how he answered them, and so yeah. So Shannon and I met. I talked about this in the first video. We met our freshman year. First couple, weeks we just talked, and yeah, he was so cute. And I had a crush on him, but I wasn't. I actually went into college single, and I had told him that I wasn't interested in dating at all in college, and I told him that flat out. And yeah, that didn't work out so well, did it? We've been dating for 3 months. It's been great. I have never met someone that gets me like he does. We goof off. I act like a total nerd, and he acts like a total goofball, and we tease each other, and he's like the one person I can be totally and utterly honest with, and he just gets it. Yeah. We were talking the other day, and he had brought up with me, like, I mean, he always tells me, like how he feels. We're just in a very open relationship, and I always suggest that, especially when you're in a relationship where it's complicated from the beginning. This isn't easy. I don't suggest this to people who can't put in the effort, and can't be open-minded. And I think, I'm not bragging, but that's one quality I can, say about myself is I'm open-minded. I'm open to anything. I'm open to suggestions. I am open to any new ideas. So I think that's why when he had told me he's an FTM, I was like, yeah, fine. So being open in a relationship and being able to communicate is really, really, it's key, because he goes through things that normal people don't go through. Shane goes through T shots, his testosterone shots, every 10 days. He's been in transition since, I want to say, December of last year. So he's been in transition for about a year now. And he's been, on T since I think April or May. So it's been almost a year on T too. He didn't experience the effects of testosterone. Like, most people be like, oh, you have roid rage. Obviously there's roid rage, there's breaking out, there's jealousy, there's your arousal, your libido, and he told me he didn't really start feeling the effects until like November, December. So we had been dating about a month when he really started to feel the effects. So he'd been on T for a while, and he hadn't felt any anger, any like, I'm the Hulk, and he hadn't felt any, his libido. He clearly, he hasn't had a girlfriend. I'm his first girlfriend, so he hasn't really experienced, libido since he's been with me. And he told me that, he broke out in acne, but, his doctor prescribed some, acne medicine, so he's fine with that. But we were at a club, and, this is an issue for every couple. Men dealing with jealousy, especially for the first time in their first relationship. And Shane had I'm not gonna lie, I was dressed risque. And I guess guys had been looking, and Shane got really upset because this guy had grabbed me. And Shane, I've never seen him like this. He's so calm and caring, and for him he got red in the face, and he flipped out, and I couldn't even talk to him. For the most part, you know, we've been getting in little fights about this, you know, his jealousy issues, but I couldn't even talk to him. I was like, you know, I'm here for you, and it's just, so he had told me, he was like, I've never felt that angry in my life, like, I can't believe it took, like, 9 months for me to feel the effects of tea, and now I finally feel it, and it's when I'm dating you. So, you know, the transition is going to be different for everyone. When you're dating a transgender, they have different issues than cisgendered male, and they also have different issues from other transgenders. You know, they have their own personal issues that they're going to have to deal with. You know, we have, you know, he also, you know, that's different from his other friends that have been in transition. You know, he deals with it differently than they do. I asked him, you know, some of the other questions I asked him were like, you know, like, what has T done? Like, how have you, it's so crazy because he looks so manly. I'm like, you know, what has changed? Like, has T really changed you that much? And it does. It changes your body temperature. He is very hot, like, body temperature wise. He's just, you stand next to him, he's like a heater. You know, I'm at dinner with him and his other FTM friend, and I have goosebumps, and they're sweating. They're sweating. They're clammy. It's gross. Another thing that also changes is their voice lowers, depending on the person. Sometimes it takes, you know, a couple of tea shots. For Shane, it took about 3-4 months. It took a while. It's different for each person. It's just like regular puberty. You know, everyone's unique. Another thing that changed is his hands. I have pretty manly hands, so, but you can see that mine are like longer and, like, you know, more feminine. But my boyfriend's are more squared off, and that's with his hands and his feet. I'm trying to think of what else has changed. You know, a huge difference between females and males is the way that they perceive feelings. Shane had told me that it's harder for him to feel than it was when he was female. So, you know, if we get in a fight, he's not going to feel bad about being, you know, if he says something mean, he's not going to feel bad until, like, a while later, maybe. Then he doesn't feel guilty at first. It's also harder for him to cry, he had told me. You know, he said he only cried, like, twice since he's been in transition. So that's different. Also, sensitivity down in the genital area is very sensitive. You know, sometimes we'll just be hanging out, and if I place my hand in the wrong way, he's just like, don't touch me, don't touch me. You know, what also changes is his menstrual cycle stopped in about July. So he'd been on it a couple months. So it changed for every person. So depending on your partner or your friend or your parent, it's all different, but it's good to ask them, because they don't really, depending on the person. With my boyfriend, he didn't really talk about it, you know, in depth with anyone else other than myself. I don't know if it's, you know, if people felt uncomfortable, but I think it makes him feel cared about and you know, I care about him, so I want to know what's going on in his life. I want to know how it affects him. So any questions that come to mind, anything that comes to mind, you want to ask, because, you know, this is a huge part of their life. And something else to keep in mind is that this isn't something that's going to go away. This is something that they're going to deal with for the rest of their lives. So, you know, for your sake and your partner's sake or your friend's sake, if you cannot deal with it, don't stay, because you're going to hurt them in the end, or yourself. Because, you know, this is an issue that's going to be going on for the rest of their lives. Like, it doesn't stop right here. Yeah, he's amazing, and totally, yeah. I also think another thing that is a big issue is, well, it's not a big issue, it's just, it's something to think about. I think that when people, especially couples, well, yeah, when couples are put in a position where strain is put on their relationship, they're going to, things are going to move faster than you expect them to. So for me, I fell immediately because I saw him in a whole new light. We had to deal with, he's still in transition. So we had to deal with a lot. We had to deal with, he's not comfortable with coming out to his community at school. So it's a daily thing to have to, be tight-lipped about it. It's for his safety. It's not that he's not proud of who he is. It's his safety, and that's my number one concern is his health, his happiness, and his safety. So, it's an everyday thing, having to make sure that your boyfriend doesn't, if I don't slip up, we're not a normal couple. So, for me, I fell really hard and really fast because, it's tough on a relationship because if we're not open and honest with each other, we're gonna get agitated. But also, when you are put in a position to look at something you don't know about, and it makes you see life in a different light and see life in a whole new meaning, you're gonna question your own life, who you are, and I'm going through that, and it made me love him even more because he's there for me every day. He holds my hand when I need it, and sometimes I feel really guilty because I shouldn't be put in a weaker position. I shouldn't be weak. I should be strong for my partner. My partner goes through a lot every day, and yet I still have weak moments when sometimes all I want to do is cry. Because it's hard. It's very hard dating someone that goes through this, and but somehow he helps me through it. He's a very strong person, and oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I think that this relationship has changed my life for the better. And it's also, it's changed my life in such a profound way that I doubt I will ever see life the same way. And it's all because of him. It's all because of him. I don't know. It's so easy to fall for him. He's just so charming. He is. I don't know how he does it. He's just so cute. He deals with me. And I mean, how can I not love him for dealing with me? I'm crazy. And for our first date, he made sure I'm gluten intolerant. So that means, for any of you out there that don't know what gluten intolerant means, it means that a chemical in wheat affects my body in such a way that I have several side effects: mood swings, acne flare-ups, severe stomach problems, cramping, joint pain. So, I had told him this before, and he picked out a restaurant that was gluten-free. So we went out and he knows I love sushi. So we went out for sushi in the city, and we took a walk around the city, and we held hands, and he's just He told me how much I mean to him on the first date. He's so cute. Oh, man. And I think that's, someone shouldn't have to tell you they love you, go out, buy a limo, get 12 million dozen roses. We were sitting here watching True Blood, eating Doritos like normal college kids, and he just looks over and he tells me he loves me. It's the little things that mean the most to me, and I don't know. I don't get how people can be so close-minded about people that are different. Like, people that tell me, "Oh, transgender people, I don't get it. It's crazy. How can you think that you're born in a different body?" It's not that. It's the way that my boyfriend explained this to me is his brain went one way and his body went the other way. So his brain is male and his body is female. It was not his fault. He didn't just wake up and decide, I decided today I want to be a boy. No, he knew this his whole entire life. It's something he's known. I mean, it's not something you can just make up on your own. I wouldn't want to be male, I'm sorry, but scratching my balls and getting a beer belly and, no, not for me. Not for me at all. But for him, that's who he is. So, I definitely think that when you date a transgendered person, you need to be comfortable in your own skin, and you also, it's a good time for you to get to know who you are. Make sure you're comfortable in your gender and your sexuality, because by being with someone that goes through that every day, they can help you. Not that I'm saying that I went out and I went online and looked for someone that's transgender. Not at all. He was just somehow I caught him. I wouldn't have it any other way. And but it's definitely if I had it my way, I'd have everybody date a transgender at least once. At least once. Yeah. So, if you have any questions or comments, I'm more than happy to answer them. I live for this. I love my video blog now, even though I feel really awkward. If you have any questions about what it's like to date an FTM, what it's like for them in transition, what it's like for me to go through the transition with them, any questions or comments, what's our dating life, or what's our sex life like, what's college like, what's anything. I'm more than happy to answer. So, yeah, I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.